All right, Gator Nation, welcome back to the Gator Nation podcast. I am the GNP, Gator Nation Principal Moulton, and I am joined by our Dean of Student Leadership, a new role here at Dutchman Creek, and that role is fulfilled by the one and only Dr. Tara Bacote. Doc, thank you so much for obliging me with an opportunity to introduce you to the Gator Nation community. Dean of Student Leadership. So that's new here at Dutchman Creek. Talk to us about you, Dr. Bacote, prior to this role, and then we'll talk about how you've used your experiences as an educator to fulfill this position.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of the podcast this morning. Let's see, in my 25 years of education, I started out at the South Carolina State University, earning my degree in special education. So I spent most of my career in the special education classroom, from self-contained to resource to academic support. Coming to Rock Hill, I started out at Rock Hill High School. I was over SGA at Rock Hill High. I even did a little bit of makeup school, kind of ran that. And then to the Creek, I have two daughters who are, graduates of Rock Hill High School. Most recently, I was the district reading interventionist, so that was amazing, but I am excited about this new career as the Dean of Student Leadership, and I think my experience as a teacher or in the role as even student government and just working with students with makeup school, I've just really already kind of been invested in students and their personal growth. Facilitating even professional development for our teachers. So it was just the perfect timing. I think people along my career always thought I would want to be a principal. And, after you earn your doctorate degree, people always ask, what are you going to do next? But I was just so passionate about just the classroom. But I think this gives me the opportunity to kind of expand myself, expand my reach for students. So I'm really, really excited about what that means.
All right. And the title is Dean of Student Leadership.
Correct.
So student leadership in your career and your experiences, how have you so far, and what are the future plans to utilize your experiences to develop student leadership here at Dutchman Creek?
Well, I have a wealth of experience just with mentorship with students, and actually former youth director for the association here in South Carolina, or in Rock Hill, the Sandy River Baptist Association. But so I've just had a career of just working with students on mentoring opportunities and leadership opportunities, and actually facilitating a youth forum and things like that. So here at the Creek, being a part of our mentoring with our young ladies. I've actually reached out to some of our male teachers to support a male counterpart, because right now we have LLC, our leading ladies at the Creek. And so my catchy phrase for our male mentoring is Mentorprise. And so I have some male teachers who have agreed to be on board with that. So I'm just really, really excited about that. And I just have already been meeting with students. We have changed our great Gator ways and, pumped them up a little bit with our Gator pledge. And so that's just been exciting.
I was going to get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so each time I see students, I may quiz them and ask them one of the Gator ways. But I really honestly want to focus on that leadership piece, that self-regulation, because I do see where our students are struggling with identifying self or being happy with self. I do see where our students depend greatly on external motivation and validation, and I really want to work with them being just leaders first for themselves, and not just, I'm the student council president, or those kind of things. I really want them to feel that they have what's inside of them to navigate this world.
What's been your early impact?
My early impact, let's see, I think my early impact honestly has just been a different spin on my relationship with students. And I do see when the students see me starting out at high school and having a full high school career. I wasn't that touchy, we might fist bump or hey, but I realized my early impact has just been that relationship building. It's changing a little bit. I'm softening up in my, years. So just seeing students being happy and, they want to come up to you, they want to talk to you. And when I say, hey, what's going on, they immediately melt and want to tell you, So that early impact for me has been just interacting with students and seeing the wall come down.
Gotcha. As far as teachers, being an interventionist here at Dutchman Creek and now in a different role, what adjustments have you made as a professional, and how has that been impactful for your colleagues who now see you in a different role, but at the same time is expecting that impact?
That's an interesting question because
See, I gave you some softballs early.
Well, Mr. Mo,
what is student leadership?
I've never seen myself as just a teacher. Like that's never been how I've navigated through education, and I don't want teachers to see themselves as just teachers. It's important for me to work with educators who see themselves as people who are impactful, and I feel like when you see yourself as just a teacher, sometimes all the best that you have doesn't come to the forefront. So with that regard, I want to continue actually the way I've carried myself as a professional. Teachers, have always, I feel like when they have questions or, they want me to check out some things about a student, I feel like I've been approachable in that way where teachers know that they can come to me, even if it's, Bacote, do you have some markers? They know I got markers, they know I have paper, I have advice. So I feel like in that regard, I do want to continue that. I will say there is maybe a slight shift in how maybe it is received, because sometimes people, when you have a title, maybe it makes them feel some kind of way. When you come into their space, like, what are you looking for now? Whereas if I'm in my teacher role, I'm seen as a colleague. So just really kind of navigating, hey, I'm still that same me. When I'm coming in, I'm asking questions, or I'm looking, or, I'm going to say, oh, I love that. Or I might say, I was wondering if, so I don't think what I'm saying or doing is new. Like you pointed out, the title is different. So that is the challenge, is how the perception maybe have changed for others.
Gotcha. It's always a work in progress because, like you mentioned, when you go into someone else's space, and we've worked hard as an administrative team to make sure teachers understand that when we come into the classroom or we come into their space, it's not a gotcha. It's like, I got you. We're in this together.
Mr. Mo, that's a t-shirt idea. I've been thinking about that.
Okay.
I want the shirt to say, I got you, not I got you.
Right.
Let's put it together.
Let's put it together.
Space, we call
it. In general, what has been your biggest joy so far this school year?
Biggest joy? I think, quite honestly, I feel like I have been able to lower my shoulders a little bit, and again create different relationships with students. I think some people may have expected the opposite, whereas Dean of Student Leadership, it's very strict and okay, what are you guys doing? But as I mentioned before, just that connection is a little different because I get to see more students. Coming from an interventionist world and the special education world, I've always had small groups, or I saw smaller groups, so my big reach came from mentoring and those things. But being in this role, I have access to more relationships, with students. So that's been the biggest joy. I feel actually less pressure to be a voice of discipline. I feel like a voice of correction and guidance, but not
and encouragement.
Yeah. So that's been actually something that I didn't expect to feel this way, but that's been a great joy.
Well, that's great to hear, because from the beginning, I didn't want the Dean of Student Leadership to focus on discipline. I'm a firm believer that discipline is a byproduct of your structures and your frameworks and your behaviors. So if we work really hard in the classroom to make sure that we have good quality tier 1 instruction, if the administrators are supportive, if the teachers are well prepared, then that will have a net positive effect on discipline. Therefore, the Dean of Student Leadership can focus on student leadership. So I'm glad to hear that that is the direction that you feel like you're going as a professional, and it's certainly, from my perspective as principal, what I'm seeing is early impact. Now, you mentioned the Gator Pledge. That's been fun.
Okay.
Talk to us about that.
So we have the great Gator ways, but I really wanted something that students can kind of take ownership of. And we kind of know with a pledge or with affirmations, they just really kind of become a part of you, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I talk to the students, that's really what my angle has been. Like, not just can you recite them, but I want this to be something that you see as a part of you. This excellence in our Gator Nation, right? My goal is for the culture. People say do it for the culture. Well, I want the culture at the Creek to be, feeling in control of yourself, right? Just being kind, that empathy, that peace, being respectful, being in control, being prepared, just all of those things that kind of make you a holistic person, right?
All right, so the great Gatorays are being
kind, being here, being prepared, being respectful, and being in control.
Okay, so how did you morph those 5 great Gatorays into a pledge?
Well, I'm just a lyricist like that.
Okay, all right, freestyle. What you got?
Well, but to be honest, I just looked at it because I'm like, okay, how, and that was the challenge, right?
Go ahead.
You got to give me a good beat. But no, so, but really just looking at how to bring those things together that affirm the student, right? So the first part of the pledge says, I am, right? Mm-hmm. I am a kind Gator, right? Who, again, back to self, who understands the importance of being here, your presence, right? Mm-hmm. Being in control. And then the rest of it says, I am respectful, and I am prepared for success today and every day. So that continuation of this in our theme this year, of course, is consistency, right?
Mm-hmm. Commitment to consistency.
You start out by saying I am, right? And then you close it out with, this is an ongoing process. I'm going to be consistent about it. I'm going to be persistent. So that's how we got our pledge.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Bacote,
yes, sir.
5 weeks in, and I can say that I am absolutely thrilled with the work you've done with our students and teachers here at Dutchman Creek. So thank you so much for your work, your professionalism, your friendship, your forward thinking. Everything about you has been spot on. So shout out to you, Dr. Bacote. And
Appreciate that.
on the Gator Nation podcast, my guests have to close it out. One way and one way only. You got to give us your absolute best. Go Gators.
Ooh, okay. I worked on something. Go, Gators. Go, Gators. Go, Gators. G-O Gators.
Hey!
All right.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bacote. Thank you, Gator Nation. We out.
All right.